Darren and Sean here from Cloud9 HQ Studios. Hey, great to have your company. It's nice to see you again. It's been a busy time. Market update for you right now, Sean.
Whew, what's been happening?
It's felt really busy.
It has.
It has, but there's a lot of things happening in the market, isn't there? What's going on?
There always is, though, isn't there? There's always a few little different market forces that are playing against each other, and they always have an effect. And I think what we have to remember is we are dealing primarily in a secondary home market. So although we get our fair share of people who want to relocate here and enjoy the lifestyle of sunny Spain, we also get that other type of client who wants to either invest here or buy a second home, which they're only going to use for 6 or 8 weeks of the year. So it's not something that may be uppermost on their mind.
Yeah.
Like buying a house back in their home country that they actually have to live in. This is very often a luxury purchase. It's a discretionary purchase. So it doesn't take much to just move things off kilter a little bit.
Yeah.
So you found that, haven't you?
Yeah, I have found that actually. And I think with the events of the world, it's global. With the stock markets, it's what's happening in America, in the UK, it's what's happening in Ukraine, Russia. It's all over, isn't it? So people, I think you said it right, it's discretionary. So hang on a minute, do I need this? Actually, I would like it, I want it, but do I actually need this now? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to be a little bit more reserved with I'm going to be more considered with the purchase. That's what I'm finding.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's what tends to happen. So whenever life is going well and people are making money, oh, I know, I'll buy that holiday home I've always dreamed of having in Spain.
Yeah.
And then when things start going wrong, that's the first thing they get rid of because they don't actually need it in their lives. So yeah, it's a strange one. I think what's helped Marbella and the Costa del Sol is the fact that so many more people since COVID particularly have come here for a permanent move, which has obviously increased the population. It's meant that we've got a flight of money from all over the world. It's a global destination now. So we've got all those really positive things happening, but for sure there are some headwinds, and there always has been. But at the moment we have got a kind of what's the
a tsunami
of stuff. Yeah, so we've got the stuff going on in the States, the UK, obviously under a fairly new government, and those are things that make people want to leave, but also make people hunker down and not spend money. And then we've got obviously the geopolitical stuff, the war, which again created opportunity as well as worrying people. You know, people in Ukraine and Poland, for instance, are spending money here because they want to get their money out of a war zone. And then you've got the thing that we didn't think would happen, which is the heat wave that people have been having in Northern Europe.
Yeah, I know.
So you know, when you're basking in 30-degree heat in Manchester,
you're not as motivated, are you? Actually, I have to say, there's nothing finer for me sat in a beer garden or in the UK on a summer's day.
Really?
That's it. That's the only thing.
Is that heaven for you?
No, it's just really nice. You know what I mean? And you don't need then to be thinking about this is grey, this is depressing, you know, and this is 90% of the time. That 10%.
It's absolutely true, because I went to Liverpool to see my sisters.
Yeah.
And I did the ferry across the Mersey. And
There's a song there somewhere, isn't there?
There is. And it was clear blue skies, and it was really beautiful. And I thought, shall I buy a flat in Liverpool? Talk about like a holiday romance, isn't
it? I know.
It's a bit nuts. So our lead flow in May was down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the figures show that the sales for, I think it was April, were down year on year by about 5% in Costa del Sol. So I think the market's cooling a little bit on a year on year basis. Our lead flow was down slightly. Now that I think is due to all those factors we've talked about. I think it's also due to the fact that there are, say there's 5% or 10% fewer buyers in the market, which isn't a bad thing because we had that post-COVID bump. So that's not a bad thing that the market's just tailed off a little bit. I think that's probably a more normalised.
Well, it's more adjusted, normalised. Yeah.
But the problem is we've got probably 20%, 30% more agents.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit, we predicted this, we said there's going to be a little bit of pain in the agent market, not necessarily in the market in general, but there might not be enough food on the table to keep all the agents fed.
Yeah, it's a topic of conversation, this. There's too many agents on the marketplace. I mean, so what can we see? What's the problem there? I mean, what would that be? Just people just not... What does that mean?
Well, I think it's just, you know, once you get that big number of agents, you can't necessarily rely on the quality of them. You know, a lot of them are inexperienced, a lot of them, well, everyone's unregulated, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that another time. But it means there's a lot of people who don't really know what they're doing. And I think there's a lot of one-man bands, you know, anyone can do it. So you can work from your second bedroom, your first bedroom, and you can be an agent and you can do 1 or 2 deals a year and you can live.
So as soon as that lifeline disappears or gets tighter, then those individuals, it changes everything, doesn't it?
It does, because if you're not doing those 1 or 2 deals, then you haven't got a business. And if you can't survive for a year, without a deal, then you're gone.
So we're seeing this. I mean, you predicted this even a year ago that this would happen. There's too many agents, little stock now, things are adjusted, people's buying motivations changing as well. So we're seeing all the predictions that we made a year ago, or you made a year ago, it's all coming in now into play, isn't it? And we're seeing a lot of headline news as well from Sanchez, of course, which I think is affecting people's motivational thought process with making a commitment here. But there's an easy get out of this one, because there's a lot of things happening, isn't it, the marketplace with the news politically, with the tax and the rental laws and all these things. But there is, you always say, well, just get in now.
They're not making you very welcoming, are they? Let's be honest. Considering that tourism is their number one export, they're not really opening the doors. And I know that the whole world has become a little like this since Brexit, and since we all became very protective of our own countries. So it's kind of a thing that's happening all over the place. It's not just a Spanish thing, but when tourism is your number one export, you kind of want to throw your doors open and encourage people to come and encourage people to spend their money. Sanchez isn't doing that. And one of the things that he's trying to do is he's trying to introduce, well, he has introduced a bill to Parliament to stop what he thinks is an influx of non-EU, we have to be very careful about this, non-EU speculative buyers. So if you're from the UK or the US and you want to come to Spain and invest in Spain and live your life here, you are more than welcome, and you're not going to be penalised for that. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to introduce a bill into Parliament that does penalise those non-EU buyers who want to invest in Spain but don't want to be here full time. And they're the people he's going after. And what he is trying to do is to charge those people up to 100% of the property value in tax. That's considerable. If you're spending €1 million on a property in Spain, you don't want to be taxed another $1 million for the privilege. That, obviously, the fact that he said it's up to 100% of the value of the property would indicate that there's going to be some sort of sliding scale
if it goes.
But so I think having talked to the mayor of Marbella last week, when we caught up with her, she was adamant that he's not going to get it through. There's a lot of corruption scandals surrounding him and his family, and this is like a smokescreen. This is a distraction. It's a great headline. It's getting a lot of the should we say the lower end of the political classes on side with Sanchez. The fact that he's standing up for their rights, their housing rights, and all that sort of stuff. But there's not a lot of substance to it. Yes, he's introduced it into Parliament. If he ever managed to get a majority to get it through, it would be some considerable time before it became legislation. So our advice to people, the Americans, the Brits who are worried about this, get it done now.
And of course, going back to the market report, that's all relevant in this kind of slightly unusual Q2 where, you're getting, there's demand still, but it's kind of just adjusting a little bit, isn't it?
It is. I feel that there's just this correction going on. So Q1 was our strongest ever Q1 in 24 years. Q2 started incredibly well. It's just slackened off a little bit for all those reasons mentioned. Bizarrely, June there's been a bit of a surge in inquiry. So I think now that the weather stopped behaving itself in Northern Europe and they're back to normal, I think people are now thinking, people have got short memories. It's incredible. You can have a volcano erupting, you can have a war starting, and it all goes a little bit quiet for about 4 weeks. And then it's like, you just got to crack on. It's like COVID. We all thought the world was ending with COVID. People were still buying multi-million-euro villas.
Because if you want to buy, you're going to buy, aren't you, at the end of the day?
If you're motivated to do it, and at the moment Marbella is probably the number one destination for anyone looking to change their life for the better, their lives and their families' lives, then that's going to be the real driving force of the market. There's always going to be headwinds buffeting the progress, but ultimately, as long as there's sufficient people doing that, these will soon get sidetracked.
And for me as well, what I've noticed, and I think we spoke about this the other day over a coffee as you did, prices are settling still. They're kind of, we're getting people coming in and making offers, and offers sometimes are being accepted lower than asking price, of course. So I think we're seeing that it's not, I've got to have it now. It's like, okay, well, I'll put an offer in and see where it goes. And often that's less than asking, isn't it?
We are at that. It's almost like a juxtaposition where in the last sort of 2 to 3 years, I think vendors have pretty much been in control of the market, particularly in hard to find places like the Golden Mile, for instance, places like that. Now I think that we're returning to a more normalized market. I think buyers don't want to overpay, and they kind of know when they are overpaying. And of course, there's always going to be someone to buy that 12 million euro penthouse in the Puente Romano, but actually they might not pay 13. They don't need it or want it that much. So I think we are just seeing a little squeeze. It's not going to be so that you would notice necessarily. I'm in the market at the moment for an investment apartment, and I'm struggling to find something that I consider to be decent value for exactly what I want it to be. So I'm just going to keep my powder dry and just wait.
That's it. That's the general consensus.
Yeah, and it is.
Yeah.
And that, of course, is no good to us in the real estate business. We don't want people to keep the powder dry, but that's what we advise people to do. We say, just wait a minute. We're not talking about years. We're just talking about just breathe for a month.
Yeah.
And let's see where the market levels out to.
We're not seeing a drop in price, but we're just seeing that leveling out adjustment.
Little correction on a little things which we knew were overpriced. And that's the difference. We know, I mean, we laugh when we see things coming across our bows on email, and we see how much does this client and this agent think they're going to get for this property? They're having a laugh.
But we've been in situations where we've been out to clients' properties to list them, to value them. And they're saying, well, we want this much because something up there went for this, or they've got it on the market. But if it's not the right price, we won't sell it, will we?
No.
We're not going to market it.
No.
It's pointless. It's a waste of
time. That's right. And other agents do. Other agents will take on that listing. And I have debates with some of the really well-known agents here who are doing a great job, and they will take the listing because they think it's better to have it and then to educate the vendor from within than to not have it and not be in control of it. And I kind of see their point. Yeah. I don't want to be seen as someone who overvalues properties. And there are agents out there who have created this bubble where they've literally put a blindfold on, gone into a pot, like they do with the FA Cup draw, picked out a number and gone, 5 million. We'll throw that back in, forget that. 10 million, that'll do, 10 million. And there's absolutely no substance in terms of per square meter price comparables. It's just literally, this is what's that word I hate? Rock star listing. It's like, oh no, it's not. It's just overpriced.
Yeah.
So people are aware. People aren't stupid.
Yeah. So going into Q3 or certainly into the summer months here, we might get a little bit of sort of that demand might just creep back in, a bit like last year, because we were talking about the summer or August. Oh, it's always quiet in August. Well, actually, we had a busy August last year as well. So I'm thinking that we're probably going to have a July and August that's probably going to just come back a little bit more as well.
I think so. Normally we get, from lead flow, it's normally about a month, 6 to 8 weeks, when we then feel the effect of that lead flow, whether it's gone up or down. So we had a little dip in May, so we're probably going to pay for that a little bit in terms of performance in June, but we've already seen June's figures flying along. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a weird quarter. But look, we've got people on the ground, we've got people coming here, looking at properties, buying properties. That hasn't stopped at all. We're talking about, for most companies, very sort of minute differences here, but we feel them because we're so attuned to
and it can't keep going up and up, but it's got to plateau. It has to just and a lot of people are saying, oh, it's is the market quieting up? It's just going back to how it was probably pre-COVID, isn't it? Which was a normalized market.
Well, I think actually, I think we've still got that post-COVID permanent relocation demand that we probably didn't have before COVID. So I think that is driving the market. Let's see. It's always interesting. There's always little nuances, aren't there, with everything.
Okay, so takeaways from the market update for Q2 so far?
Still a positive market. Still lots of buyers, lots of interest from all over the world, and that's the key. We're not reliant on one country. I think there's agent competition, which means there might not be enough food on the table for all agents, but the market fundamentally is strong. I think we're seeing some price corrections, which is good, because I think it's returning to a more normalized market, and inquiry levels are up from last month, and we're looking forward to a good summer.
Yeah, and a slight knee-jerk with what's happening in the headlines, of course, which it always does, but give it a few weeks, just let it pass, and then we'll be back in it. Good stuff. All right, well, that was interesting.
Yes.
Good for a catch-up there.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
you must do it again.
I think we will. We've got a few bite-sizes coming up as well, and lots of other content on its way as well. So As always, thank you so much for watching. Keep in touch. Don't forget to like, comment. We love comments.
Love a comment.
Yeah, Sean likes all the negative ones as well.
Charming.
Actually, we don't get many, do we?
No,
Let's
we
get a
don't.
few now.
We don't actually.
And also, if you ever see us out and about, you got noticed recently as well.
I did.
Yeah, you had to do a little signature, a little autograph.
Can't go to our courting glares anymore without being spotted.
I know. That was the only place you went.
I have to dress up. I have to think about what I'm wearing now.
I know.
You know, public persona and all that.
Till the next time, market updates from Sean and Darren. It's bye for now.